Now let's check on the markets before we move on the show. Moving on, we did see the market lose about 0.4% to close at 37,085 points yesterday. Today it is starting on a much brighter note. The NSE All Share Index up about 0.4%, currently at about 37,231 points. The gainers include Lafarge, WAPCO, and GT Bank. The losers, on the other hand, include Livestock Feeds and Oando. Let's now cross to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, where Rosalind Oluyide is standing by to talk us through the markets. Rosalind, thank you very much for joining us. So I think it's great to see that the market is starting the day on a pretty solid note. Clearly, over the last few days, the market has been trending lower. Last week, we saw a huge pullback in the market. On one day, we saw the market lose about 3%. Yesterday, we also saw it lose. So do you think that we've turned the corner? Do you think this market is likely to trend higher from here?
Well, we want to. Market has really suffered a major pullback last week. Especially, we know that we'll likely see some slight recovery this week. It's still early in the morning, but it's a very good signal the market is about to bend. But then, we want to know that it's still cautious optimism in the market for now. People are still watching. They want to see the direction of the market. This is the first time after the major pullback the market is really gaining very early in the morning. So I want to say that it's still cautious optimism out there. But then the worst might not be over, but then we are going to see some really level of stability this week.
Well, of course, we've seen a lot of funds pulled out of emerging markets. Nigeria has been hit like with many other countries. So your thoughts about how bad it can get? You've mentioned that it's cautious optimism at this stage, but a lot of people have talked about the consumer stocks, some of them being pretty expensive, very richly valued, particularly the likes of Nestle Nigeria, Nigerian Breweries, Guinness Nigeria. Many people say those are very vulnerable stocks at this time. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, for many, what we have seen is that investors are now more informed. You know, from analyst reports, from news from CNBC Africa, people are really getting to know about what analysts are talking about. So it's just reaction to what many brokers and analysts have been talking about, the fact that most of these consumer goods are overpriced. Their PE are far below what they are being priced in the other markets. So what we are saying now is that correction in that segment. But don't forget again that most of these ICAP, they are the most store of wealth. They are not as volatile as banking stocks. So what we are likely to see, and we are seeing that even in Unilever this morning, going back, and then Lafarge WAPCO, they've really been oversold over the previous week. What we are going to see is a gradual comeback to that sector, because one is the toast of investors, is a preserver of wealth, and that is what PFAs are really looking for. So I see a situation where people will start gradually returning to this consumer good. It might not be as highly priced, as pricey as a previous week, but then people will still, it will still be the toast of investors.
Okay, let's talk about the banking sector for a little bit. Sterling Bank, like I mentioned earlier, have concluded plans for a rights issue. 12.5 billion naira is what they are looking to raise, and they are issuing it, from what we gather, at a huge discount, very deep discount. The market price is 2.61 naira. They're looking to issue at 2.12 naira. Your thoughts about this rights issue?
Well, like we said in this forum, that because gradually market people are coming back to the market, and then the right market is about their first port of call before we go public. And then most of the rights we've been doing, like Transcorp, like Oando, they have always also be a deep discount. It has to be a deep discount because many of these investors, we have not really returned so much to them. So this is just a way of letting them have at least a little bit, you know, a return of what they have invested. So I see Sterling back at this price they are coming. I see it being really subscribed to, and it will be a very successful outing. Right now, from most of the results we've been getting from the rights issues, past ones, they've been hugely successful. We learned that even Transcorp is likely to be oversubscribed. So from these pillars, we expect that many more rights issues will still come. Resort right is on, WAPIC is on right now, Sterling will be coming, so many other ones will be joining. By the time we are able to have a success story of these rights, I expect that just one company might just test the public market, and then that will be the turning point for the public offer for us.
All right, I just want to get your thoughts on the timing of the volatility we're seeing right now. Many people say it's probably coming at a good time because earnings season will be upon us in another couple of weeks when we begin to review half-year numbers for many companies. They may be unaudited numbers, but at least they give some direction as to what to expect going forward. So your thoughts about the possibility of a recovery when we do begin to see numbers come out, particularly from the banks, because the banks haven't really participated in the market move this year.
Yeah, coincidentally, the banks are, the negative sentiments around the banks, the fact that they are likely to have reduced profitability. Don't forget that even GT Bank, they released their forecast for quarter three was really very modest. And for many investors, for many analysts, GT is the first of the industry. So many people are beginning to think that if GT could come out with this kind of modest forecast, it might just be the way, you know, for most banks. So, so I see for quarter three and then down the line, some modest return. But majorly for quarter two, don't forget, many investors, they find their capital appreciation and corporate action. Traditionally, this quarter two is always very slow. It was just the rally in the Nigerian emerging market that spilled over to Nigeria that caused this recent rally, and that we're experiencing the pullback now. So for me, by the time the Q2 return, it should return the hope that we're expecting for either to make or mar them.